What can you do with all the Momigami paper you have around? Today, let's find out. I made a Momigami vase out of my own Momigami paper. And here are a few things that I used. What started out as an air dry clay project turned into, what can I do with my Momigami paper? I have the air dry clay and I have a small jar. I can't ever get rid of something like that. And with that, I decided I wanted to cover the jar with air dry clay. This project is just an experiment. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, so everything that you see that I do here was just on the cuff. I'm rolling out my air dry clay with my plastic roller. Normally when I use air dry clay, I like to keep it, probably a quarter of an inch thick as I roll things out to try and give it some substance. But because I was going to overlay a glass jar, I tried to roll this out as thin as I possibly could. And I had an experiment that I wanted to try. I got this foam, pillow foam, and laid out the clay, and then I grabbed my jar and I pushed it really, really hard into the foam, bringing the clay up around my jar. Again, this is an experiment, but my goal was to have a nice flat bottom and to try and bring the sides up around the jar as easily as possible. I wasn't worried about things being smooth. I wanted it to be a little bobbly and with overlaid pieces, parts of the clay. So I got that all there. You see the bottom is nice and flat. That was the primary goal. I wanted it to stand well. And so I just started molding it around the jar itself. And I didn't roll it out far enough to cover the entire jar, so I took a separate piece of clay and just started rolling it around the top and wanted to incorporate the top and the bottom together and started squeezing around the top of the jar because it was thinner at the top, and I just started to incorporate the seams. And again, I'm not worried about this being perfect. I didn't even know what I was going to get because I am experimenting all the way as we go. So now that I have the bottle completely wrapped, it's really just the process of getting it to where I want it to be. I secured the bottom and just started smoothing out the big spots that I wanted to get covered for sure. I wasn't sure how the paper was going to be incorporated as of yet, so I started to focus on some of the really big bumps, adding water a little bit here and there, but really wanted to get the neck of the bottle tight and cleaned up. So I just enjoyed the process. It's the next day. The vase is fully dry and the air dry clay is hard. And now it's time to get to work. What am I going to do? This is tissue paper Momigami. I had put Kaniyaku starch on the tissue paper. Then I used watercolor on it and proceeded to do the Momigami technique on it. So I'm cutting out strips. I'm thinking I might want to put a strip on each side of it and maybe paint the underlying vase. But that's not how it goes, as you've seen. So I cut them all out, and this is the process of me getting the strips of Momigami paper cut out and then attached to my vase. There are a lot of types of Mod Podge, and the Mod Podge that I chose is the Dishwasher Safe Gloss. And the reasoning behind that is I figured, well, the glass bottle is going to be holding water for flowers, so I might as well try and make this as protected as possible. So what I did, I took the Mod Podge and put it directly on the vase and started laying my strips out. I had colored the top of the vase with a metallic copper and didn't like it, so you'll notice it changes later. I didn't get that videotaped, but I'm now applying the first Momigami strip, and the tissue paper really conforms to the bottle really well, and I love how the texture remains. And so I had put Mod Podge underneath, and now I'm putting it on top and just covering it up and painting it down so that it's secured pretty good onto the vase. The tissue paper I used for Momigami isn't your everyday tissue paper. It's a tissue paper that is stronger and more water resistant that I got off of Amazon. I'll put it in the video description section. I'll put a link to it so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But the everyday normal tissue paper would not hold up for the Momigami. I just wanted to make a note since I mentioned tissue paper. So I've gotten all my 4 strips placed on the vase, and this is where I've made the decision that nope, I'm not going to paint the underlying part of the vase. I'm just going to cover the whole thing with this Momigami tissue paper and laying it out right now with the dishwasher safe Podge. I'm just starting the process of laying it out, and I'm not real concerned with how it is. I just want my colors to be somewhat uniform, but still random, if that makes any sense, so that I can have a nice cohesive look on the vase. So I just proceeded on putting strip after strip after strip on my vase. I was very liberal with the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I just put it on top and underneath and made it adhere to the shape of the vase, and wanted to make sure all my edges were really smooth in. Now I did run into some confusion as to the type of paper that I did use. This was some old Momigami paper. It did have the consistency of tissue paper, but I could not find a sales history of what I bought. So I found what I think is comparable to what I have. I've never used it, but I did put a link to it. It's great for, it's resistant to tearing when wet. So I did put that link in there. I haven't used it, but the tissue paper effect is just really perfect. As you can see how nice it conforms to the actual vase bottom, especially as I just directed it with my brush. It was really perfect for what I wanted it to do. And again, the process is over and over, just laying over the strips and making sure they are brushed down really well. And here is a picture of my vase. I added a gold paint at the top of it, but I thought it still looked a little bare, so I did some jewelry making stuff and made a charm. As you'll see, there's a nice little charm now that I've put around the vase itself. That is actually a paper bead made with some old Momigami paper. I hope this video was helpful and you got a lot of ideas of what you can do with your Momigami paper, or try new things. If you're interested in the charm and how I made that, I'm happy to do a video on that. Just leave a message in the comments and I'll be sure to check it out and see what I can do. These make wonderful little gifts, and you can make them in all different sizes. Get different sizes of jars and make different types of vases, or even just pieces of art that can be sitting on your shelf or given as gifts. Again, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much.